Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Welcome to Just Minding My Business, our Facebook Live edition. I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins, and I have with me our host,
Ida Crawford.
Hi, Ida. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. It's been a good day. We hope that you found beauty and joy in your day. Living the life you deserve starts with developing a mindset that supports whatever it is you want to be. In that vein, we have joining us tonight, Darius Wise, who has focused his life on helping people dust off their dreams and live a life of abundance. He has a passion for encouraging people to destroy the box they live in and free themselves from the shackles of their mind. Darius is the author of What Are You Thinking? Hi, Darius. Welcome to Just Minding My Business.
Hello, ladies.
How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm phenomenal. How are you guys? How are you two doing?
I'm doing awesome.
Awesome.
I'm fine now that my tongue is untied. I'm ready now. Fluffs and fluffs.
That's the
Until I look at the news, it's like nothing's happening.
I understand that feeling. So for a lot, if you're not watching the news, it's like nothing's happening.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Absolutely. So you know me, Darius. I like beginnings.
I know, Ida.
So
how far you want me to go back?
I want you to just let it flow.
All right, let it flow. Well, first, I'm so happy. I'm so thankful that you both, invited me to come and spend some time with you, especially during this time that we're going through. So I'm very thankful for that. You know, I love having my time with you two ladies. So it's always a pleasure and it's always a great time. But just a little bit about myself, so everyone else watching will know. I am Darius, the Professor Wise. Wrote a book a couple years ago, 2 years ago now. Wow, it's crazy. Called What Are You Thinking? How to Be More Intentional, Deliberate, and Conscious with Your Thoughts. But prior to the book, one of the things I'll share is that I had this book idea probably about 20 years ago. And for 20 years, I told myself that I couldn't write a book. I told myself that, who are you to write a book? What makes you think that you have what it takes to write a book? You can't do it. Who's going to publish it? Who's going to read it? Who's going to buy it? And so these were all the things that I told myself for many years. And it wasn't until I really started to take a deeper dive into how we think and how our thinking impacts our lives that I realized that I was the only one holding me back. And went full steam ahead, wrote the book, excited about that, and been getting great reviews from it. It's changing people's lives. So I'm excited to hear that that's it, because that was my mission with it. Been speaking, been doing keynote speeches, speaking at different events and being invited to different events to come speak and share my story and just, share with people my mission and my passion, which is simply this. I want to help people discover their phenomenal mind and be able to use it every day to achieve their life goals.
All right. You can't get no better than that.
That's a huge statement, yes. Because most of us don't think.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that.
Yes. Yeah, we think we're thinking. We think we're thinking, but in all actuality, we're just regurgitating a bunch of stuff that we heard from somebody else. Very few original thoughts there.
That's right. Could you just dive in briefly into the structure of how we think or how we think we're thinking?
Well, let's talk. That's a good question. And the structure, the way I see it, there's a process, this thought cycle. And at first, it starts with a thought. So we have this thought. From that thought comes a emotion or a feeling. So we have this thought, and it creates an emotion or feeling. Once that emotion and that feeling combine, now we've actually now started to create what we call and what we know as a belief. From that belief, now we have results and we have actions that we start to take. And from those actions, we get these results in our life. So now, what most people do when they don't have the results that they want, or things are not going the way that they want in their life, what they do is they usually focus on the results and thinking that the result is where you start to make changes, as opposed to really going to the original thought or going to how we're thinking, because the result is just the end of the thought process. So we gotta realize that our thinking, the thoughts that we have, those ideas and those thoughts that we're having create these emotions that we attach to them that now create the behaviors. Because we only act out on things that we believe that we have an emotional attachment to, and then from there, we're getting these results. So usually what most people are doing is that they are functioning when something is not going the way they want in their life. They're saying, look at these results that I'm getting, and I need to change these results. Instead of saying, I need to change the thoughts that I'm having so that I can change these feelings that I have about these thoughts. And from that, create the beliefs that will get me the outcome and the results that I want based on the actions that I will start to take.
Okay. That makes perfectly good sense. It's perfectly good sense. It's logical. I can hear it. Now, how do we apply it?
How do you apply? That's a good question. And it's funny, it's ironic, because my wife and I were just talking about this earlier today. She was like, but how and why? Why can't I understand why these things are happening in my life? She was just kind of throwing scenarios out at me. And how do I do that? And the first thing is we have to be conscious of the fact that we're having these thoughts, right? We so often don't think about what we think about. So we have to think about what we think about. So that means in this hustle and bustle, prior to this whole lockdown with this coronavirus, the hustle and bustle of our lives was, I got to go do this, I got to go do that, and I'm over here and I'm over here, I got to go to work and I got to come home, I got to get the kids, I got to do, and all of that never allowed, or we never made, and it was intentional about taking time to just sit still and be quiet. Because if you just sat there and closed your eyes and just breathe, you'll have all these ideas running through your head. Most people, as soon as they do that, they'll have all kinds of ideas. A lot of people who have trouble falling asleep right away is because they have all these thoughts going through in their head. So we have to first gain the awareness of the fact that we're constantly thinking. And research shows that we have 50,000 plus thoughts on a daily basis. And a good portion of them are the same thought repeated over time, over and over again. So first we need to understand that we need to take time to understand that we are having these thoughts, right? So we need to think, and then once we understand that, we need to think about those things that we're thinking about. So the big question becomes, why are you having the thoughts that you're having? So why does that happen? What are you thinking about, and why are you having those type of thoughts?
Wow.
And it only becomes something that we really need to put a lot of time into, especially when we're not having the results in life that we want. See, this is one of the things and I'll share this with you. This is one of the things that I believe. We are where we are today as a result of past thinking. So where you are today is based on the thoughts that you had in the past. And we're going to be what we are and where we are tomorrow and today because of the thinking that we're having now. So where you are tomorrow, where you are after this coronavirus is over and we've got a control over it and all the restrictions have been lifted and we can come out the house again and we're not quarantined. After all that happens, you're going to be a result of what your thinking is right now while we're in it.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I really think people need to understand.
Yeah.
What you're doing right now during this quarantine, during this whole coronavirus, the thoughts that you're having, the things that you're telling yourself, the stories that you're telling yourself will play out after it's over.
Right.
Wow.
That's huge.
That is very huge. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's like, for me, I just got my creative juices on. I am busier than I was before all of this happened. I was busy then,
right?
But I'm busy in a different way now because I'm creating.
But what was the key to that? Do you think the key to that was for you, Ida?
Well, a little bit of it was fear of what is happening.
Okay.
Okay, and the other part to that is I want to come out better on the other side of this than I was before.
And that's so key. And that's why, I kind of asked that to see where you would come. But that's exactly what people need to understand. You have to be busy right now. You have to be creative. And we all have that within us. But we have to be able to use that so that on the other side of this, we are better. Yeah. Whatever your gift is, whatever that talent is. See, I know, and you probably, both of you probably heard this from people over the years, right? Because you all are interviewing people, you are in that space where you're kind of getting stories from people. And I'm sure that you've heard people say, man, if I just had a little time to just get my thoughts together, or if I had a little time to start this business or to get this idea down, then I would be good. What are those people doing right now?
Watching the news.
Still looking for time.
Watching the news.
Are stuck in fear. Yeah, they're stuck in fear now.
Yes.
You asked for this time. You said you needed some time to get your thoughts together, some time to really put in the work to do this. If I could just get a few weeks off from my job so I can focus on this book I want to write, or if I can just get a few weeks of some time off so I can focus on this business I want to start, whatever that was. Now that you have it, most people are so wrapped up in the fear of what may potentially happen to them that they're frozen and they won't move.
And that is something that perhaps you can speak to also. That freeze point. Ida said that, she's busy in ways that in a more creative way. I'm finding the same thing. My creativity is beginning to flow. But for me, one of the ways that it flows is because I've made space to be still.
Yes.
I make space to be still. I recognize that before this, I was a human doing. I was doing, like you said, doing this, doing that, running here, running there, Now it's like, okay, I have the ability to be still.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean doing nothing.
Yes.
People are frozen, like you said, in fear.
Yes.
Why? Now, and that sounds like a crazy question to ask, but why?
No, that's a perfectly sane question to ask. And let's get into the neuroscience of that question. Whenever we are in a uncomfortable position, whenever we're confronted with something that's not familiar to us, our brain triggers the amygdala. So there's a part of our brain called the amygdala. So when we're uncomfortable, when it's a scene that we've never been a part of, or, it used to be back years and years and years, thousands of years ago, when that lion or saber-toothed tiger jumped out the bush, that's when the amygdala activated. And it's usually because of fear. And when the amygdala is low almond-sized part of our brain behind both ears, and when the amygdala is active, here's what it does. It gives us three options. You can freeze, you can fight, or you can flee. Fight or you can flee. So it's flee, fight, freeze. We all heard this before, but that's what the amygdala does. So I'm in a state of fear. I'm in a state of fear because every time I turn on the news, all I hear is fear. Mm-hmm. All I hear are things that I should be afraid of. I should be afraid to walk out my front door. I should be afraid to do this. I should be afraid to do that. So now I'm living 24/7 in fear. My amygdala is constantly active. Now, here's what else happens biologically when your amygdala is triggered. When your amygdala is triggered, it actually shuts down your prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain behind your forehead. This is responsible for our logical and rational thinking. It shuts it down because your brain is saying there's fear, there's something going on, we're being attacked or something. What we need to do is we need the resources that prefrontal cortex uses. We need those resources to go to the rest of your body, your extremities, so we can fight. Mm-hmm. So it shuts down the prefrontal cortex. So now I can't be creative. I can't think logically. I can't bring up those creative juices and get them flowing because I'm in a state of fear. I'm tense. My blood pressure is going up. My heart rate goes up. Cortisone is coursing through my body. And so now I'm always tense. I'm always like, they just had another press conference. They said this number of many people are sick or getting it or and they're showing these things that are fearful, that produce fear. Mm-hmm. So now, Ruth, you have people that may be creative, that may have something that they want to do, but if they're constantly feeding their mind all of the rhetoric that's going on the news, and I'm not downplaying it. I think you should be informed, not influenced. Right. So you need to watch enough to be informed. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if you are living in a state of fear, you can't be creative. If you're living in a state of fear, your logical thinking is not happening right now. So you need to take some time and be quiet and be still and breathe and let that stuff pass away so your amygdala can calm down. And now we can be in a frame of mind where we can allow that left and right part of our brain and our logical thinking to come back, and we can go into and let those creative juices flow.
Awesome explanation. Thank you for that. That's awesome. People needed to hear that because people are scared out of their minds.
Yes.
Even my building where I live, it's basically seniors. Mm-hmm. But they just, after shutting down this, that, and the other, they finally sent out a notice that we are not allowed to have any visitors. No family, no friends are allowed into the building. Mm. I looked at it and I said, well, I still have YouTube, I still have Zoom, I'm still going to meetings and whatnot. And I'm like, woohoo, quiet. And it is, the neighborhood is extremely quiet. It's beautifully quiet.
Yes.
And
now here's a story.
It's
I want to share this with you. My wife and I were talking today, right? And I want to share this story. So she was telling me about her mother. Mm-hmm. And in the early 50s, late 40s, when polio was a issue.
Yes, that's right.
They were quarantining families because they had polio, and they didn't have Zoom, and they didn't have FaceTime, and they didn't have, a lot of them probably didn't even have telephones and in different rooms that they were confined to. And they went through this process with this. If you had polio, you couldn't go out, you couldn't be around other people, even in your family. They were quarantined. And then they got through it. Then they created a vaccine. And so now we don't have to worry about that. But these people were quarantined in spaces where they didn't have the technology that we had, and they came out okay.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They came out just fine. Some of them came out more creative than when they went in, So we have to have that time. We got to realize that, first of all, this is not the first time that we've had to quarantine.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not going to be the last time we probably have to quarantine. Mm-hmm. But it's the current time. And we got to learn how to get through it without losing the insanity and, losing our sanity, and understand that we have a perfect opportunity if we are intentional about how we use this time to come out better on the other end, like Ruth was saying, if we're intentional. See, this slowdown doesn't mean that just because everybody's slowing down doesn't mean they're taking advantage of the moment.
Yes.
Some people are slowing, they've been forced to slow down, but they're not taking advantage of the moment. And here's one of the things that I find interesting. And I know we need to figure out ways to entertain ourselves and all that, but we act like we don't love our families, like we don't want to be around them. I don't know, it's just ironic to me. But at the same time, what most people are looking at, the stuff that I see on social media is just brain-numbing entertainment. It's brain-numbing entertainment, right? It's like, I don't want to think, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to be entertained. Netflix is making a killing. Yeah, Zoom is making a killing because they got people that's how we're communicating and everything. But we're not, most people, a lot of people are not taking advantage of the moment. Yeah. To get to know the only person you can control, which is you. Yeah. We're not taking that time to understand who we are. What do we want at this point in our life? What do we want to do going forward? Yes, take care of yourself. If you're going out, put your mask on. I know, I get all that. But at the same time, when you come home, you got to be able to sit down sometimes and just be quiet. Listen to those thoughts that you have. Learn how to control those thoughts that you're having. And hear what it is that you should be doing and where you should be going in this process.
Oh, my goodness. That's so big. That's such a big thing, because that is one of the things I recognize. And I hope people hear you when you say that. Sit down, get to know who you are. Yeah. Get to know who you are, because most of us don't know who we are. We have been told who we are. We've been groomed into being who we are. Yes. We've been influenced into being who we are. Yes. And people are more than willing to tell you who you're supposed to be so that they can feel comfortable with who you are, because you are who they want you to be.
Come on, Rue.
Most of us have never had, like you said, this wonderful opportunity to sit down and say, you know what, I work at a job. You know, that's not who I am.
That tells me what to do.
And tells me what to do. And I have all these parameters. They've set up my life. I have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yes. Work by 8 o'clock. They run my entire day. By the time I get finished, I have to get back home. And by the time I get home, I'm still thinking about the job. And at the same time, I'm thinking about all the other things that I have to do. Yeah. And one of the marvelous things that I feel right now is a sense of freedom. And I'm going to tell you, I don't miss. I don't miss it. It's like, thank you. It's like, it's almost like there's something on YouTube I've been watching. It's called Townsend's Taverns or something, but he works with the culture in America in the 15th, in the 17th through the early 19th century. So he does, he builds, old-fashioned cabins by all kinds of things, and he deals with the foods that they eat. And today I caught one, and he was at a fireplace, a really old-fashioned fireplace, and he was showing how to cook scrambled eggs the way they used to make them. And I said to myself, you know something? I know they didn't have all of our conveniences, and I'm not saying I want to do away with all of our conveniences, but there's something to be said about a quieter, simpler life. Yes. So much of what we have, we don't need. I'm grateful for the technology. I think that's fabulous that we have it at this time. Yes. But also there are a lot of other things that, it's like, okay, I don't have to have all these other things in my life. And really what I want is a simpler life. And the purpose of that simpler life is to get to be with me and bring out of me whatever gifts God gave me.
Most people don't even know what those gifts are. Yes. Because here's something that I'll share with you too. This I think is so powerful if we actually get it. Here's how people determine what and who they want to be in their life. Here's how they determine it. I think it's 3 things. It's things that we should be doing that we're told by somebody else. The things that we should wish for that we're told by somebody else, and the things that other people have. Based on those things is how most people determine what they want to do with their life.
I agree.
Because I've seen this person do that. I've seen this person do that. And I see they keep telling me that I need to go to school and I need to do this. And when I'm looking at, when I went to college, let me go back. When I went to college, do you realize, I picked my major that I majored in college because I thought that was a major that made a lot of money where people graduated and got a job.
Same here.
Okay.
Same here.
We all had all the wrong reasons for.
Right.
Nowhere in there was it, I had a passion for this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, people in engineering make a lot of money. I'm pretty good with computers. I'm going to go into engineering. Nothing about passion. Nothing about desire. Nothing about what that internal, what ignites that internal fire within me. None of that.
Man, you are hitting on you. That's pay dirt. That's pay dirt.
Yes.
There's so many people. Oh my
Yes.
goodness! Thank you for saying that, because so many people in our generation, we were told
We're told what to do.
and we were geared towards doing what everybody else was doing.
Yes.
But the thing that the person who we are, I've told this to Ida many times, I believe that we were all born with a blueprint from conception.
Mm-hmm.
I've met many artistic people, writers,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And when I ask them, because the quality of their work is so phenomenal, and I ask them, when did you know that this is what you wanted to do? Almost without exception, they will say, oh, I was 4 years old. I was 7. I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
We know from our youth who
Yes.
we are and what we want,
Mm-hmm.
but we get talked out of it because, like you said, we
Yes.
look here, we look there, and we've got
Yes.
people talking in our ears,
Yeah.
and then we become afraid. We actually become afraid of ourselves.
And then
We don't know who we
parents,
are.
Yeah.
a lot of times the parents have a lot to do with that, because when you're a kid, it's like, don't do this, don't do that. You hear so many don't do that you're afraid to do.
But Ida, we got to remember, one of the things we got to keep in mind, because I think you're both spot on, right? But one of the things we got to understand, even with the parent part, your parents have been conditioned too.
Mhm.
Right.
Your parents were conditioned that this is what you need to do to be a success, on what they consider and what they believed success meant and what success looked like. So they're going to teach you because they care. They love you. Whoever that person is that's raised, they care. They love you. They want the best for you. But all they know is what they know.
Right. Exactly.
And so they're giving you that, right? They're giving you the best that they have. It's just that, unfortunately, it may not be what you were designed to do. I put it like this, and I share it this way in the book, in my book, is that you were born a genius. Unfortunately, you were raised to be average.
I love that.
Right?
Wow.
And
So
I
we're
believe
all
that.
born a genius. So Ruth, I agree 100% with you. We know that gift is buried in us. The problem is, over the years, we're they pretty much teach the gift out of us.
They do.
So much. I mean, if you keep throwing dirt in a hole, you're not gonna have a hole anymore.
Right. That's
You
true.
keep throwing dirt in it, at some point, you're gonna cover that thing up and you won't even know it was a hole there.
Exactly.
So you have a gift inside that has probably been covered up for so long that you don't even realize that there's a gift there.
Oh,
Wow.
Here's for those who are, I think, are very fortunate and blessed to have parents that recognize when their child has the gift and starts to show their gift.
Mm-hmm.
Those parents that actually put their kids in something that allows that child to really explore that gift are amazing.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot. And I wasn't that father. I got 4 kids and I wasn't that father in the beginning, right? I was going by what I was taught. Go to school, get a good education, blah, blah, blah. And those parents that see the small signs that their children show them of gifts that they have, and they recognize it and say, oh, let's explore that. Let's put them in this gymnastics class. Let's put them in this piano class. Let's put them in this art class, or whatever the gift may be, if it shows itself that early, right? Whatever the gift, those parents that allow their children to do that, they're amazing. I was talking about this too. This is so funny because all of these things, I'm looking at everything so differently now in this time, right? Mm-hmm. So I was watching this special on Dave Chappelle when he got he got an award at, I can't think of the name of the award, but he just got an award. It was here in DC, not too long ago. And when he was getting it, well, his mother was in the audience. And so he was telling stories about his mother, and his mother was in the clubs when he was doing stand-up comedy at 13 and 14 years old. His mother was taking him and sitting in the audience. And then afterwards, she would actually tell him about certain jokes that he may have told. She didn't criticize the language that he may have been using at the time or what the joke was about. But if it was too far out there, she would say something. But I think she is a miracle because she allowed him to express his gift that early. Not that I'm gonna knock it down, boy, you need to go to school, you need to do all. No, I'm going with you. Mm-hmm. You can go do what you do, but I'm going with you.
Right.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that's huge for parents right now, because now what an opportune time to be with your kids and really observe them. You know,
find out what their gift is.
Yeah, find out. You know, give them some paint and let them go for it. Give them your old guitar and see what happens.
Whatever it is, it is.
This is a wonderful time to explore that, to really look inside your child's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
what's going on.
Well, for some of us, we need to take that time for us. Figure out what our gift is. Take some time with us. And to say, while we're doing that, take some time with yourself. Find out what your gift is. What is your gift?
You know, it's interesting that you should say that, because it is a time for us to discover our gifts as adults, because most of us have ignored them. You know, we push them aside. And I'll give you a short story about my mother. Indeed, her gift was music. And I did not recognize it. I didn't recognize it until maybe 7 or 8 years ago. It was really interesting. Saturdays, my mother would do the house cleaning and she'd have on, you know, Nina Simone and all those people. Saturday afternoon, house spotless, she would turn on, the Metropolitan, the Met.
Okay.
The opera. And she loved opera. She loved the performing arts, and my sister and I were in the performing arts for a long time. We went to Europe, and we were in England, and we were in James Park. I think it's James or St. James Park. And the Black Watch came through. And my mother got so excited. By the way, my mother at that time was blind.
Okay.
So she got so excited, and I couldn't understand why she was so excited. And she was just like, listen to that, listen to that. About 7 years ago, I'm here folding up this crochet blanket that my grandmother made out of her band cap. My mother was in band. She told us from grammar school straight through high school. When my mother went away to college, my grandmother took apart her band cap and everything and made it into this beautiful crochet blanket. I was folding it up, and all of a sudden it hit me. My mother lived her life as a registered nurse, and she was awesome.
Right.
Her gift was music. I cried because she never had a chance to experience that.
Never had a chance.
She never had a chance. And
it's so unfortunate. Yeah. It's so unfortunate that is the programming, right? And we have to be aware of what it is. It's how we're being programmed. We're not being programmed to be curious anymore.
Yes.
Right? We're being programmed to sit, follow instructions, do what you're told, use this time frame to do what you need to do. All of these things are being given to us, and we're as kids, we're very curious. Like children right now are, especially, especially toddlers right now are probably having the time of their life if they're allowed to, because they're very creative. They're very curious. They want to know what's going on. They want to know what happens if I do this, what happens if I do that. As we get older, we have the curiosity beat out of us. And so we don't become curious about these things anymore. We don't have someone encouraging what they may consider a silly little habit or a silly little hobby, not habit, but hobby that we have, and exploring that, as opposed to just, you know what, you need to use this time, be quiet, I'm trying to get some rest. This is what parents are telling you. I'm just trying to get some rest. Leave me alone. Go over there. Go do that. Instead of encouraging them to do that and find that and be curious and use this time to really understand what it is that makes you light up.
Ah, yes. That's it.
What lights you up?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's a difference between, like, your mother was a great registered nurse, but that didn't light her up. When you just told that story, when you were in St. James Park, she lit up.
Mm-hmm. All the way live.
Yes.
All the way live.
Wow.
What is that for you? For everybody watching, like, what is that for you that makes you light up like that?
Yeah.
Like, where's just like the goosebumps?
Yes.
The goosebumps. What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah.
This is it for me. Talking of this is it, because I have goosebumps now. It's actually crazy. But this lights me up. Being able to share this so people can get out of their own way and become more intentional and start understanding that the thoughts that you're having, the things that you're saying to yourself are the most important things that you're saying.
Yes.
And it's either holding you back or it's propelling you forward.
Mm-hmm.
The conversations that you're having with yourself, they're either holding you back or they're propelling you forward. And if you're not moving forward, we need to change the conversation.
Absolutely.
We need to get to the point where we think about that thing and we get the goosebumps.
Goosebumps. I love
Goosebumps.
I like that.
You should be in a spot where every day you get goosebumps. How awesome would that be?
Yes.
If every day you got goosebumps.
Mm-hmm. We won't allow ourselves. That's what we've got right now. This is an opportunity. That's why we have you here, Darius, the professor, wise.
Right.
So
Everyday goosebumps. That's the goal.
Okay, that's the goal. I'm going to write that down at the top of my tongue. Very good. Goosebumps.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Goosebumps. Hashtag that.
Yeah.
Every day.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I cannot.
Yes.
I would love to have you and stay on here and just talk for hours, because
I know. See, y'all get me worked up though. It's you two. I don't know. Every time I see you all, every time we talk, y'all get me to the point where I get goosebumps. I get excited.
That's a good thing.
But I love that we can have these conversations. So I appreciate you ladies. I really do. And I thank you for just, giving your audience an opportunity to be better, right? Because I watched some of the other interviews that you all been doing. I mean, just giving them the opportunity to just understand them and get better. So I applaud both of you for that. If I had a hat, I'd tip my hat to you.
Well, how can people get in touch with you, Darius?
If you want to get in touch on social media, I am at Darius A. Wise, Darius AWISE on all platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm not on TikTok yet. I don't know. I guess I'm behind the time with the whole TikTok thing. But at Darius A. Wise. My website where you can find me is IamDariusWise.com. And you can find my book is on the website. My book is also on Amazon. Amazon is still delivering. So you can order the book. If you want it right now, the audio version is there on Audible. That's it. Thanks, Rue. The Audible is available on Audible. The ebook is available on Amazon if you want to read it that way. But definitely go get the book. I wrote the book. Really, my intention with the book was for it to be something that you sat and you kept on your nightstand. Mm-hmm. Because as you go through life, there are parts in this book that you need to go back and refer to. and to give people an idea of what they need to do. Because I always struggled when I was reading certain books, like, all right, that was all good information. What do I do now? Right? I always had that issue because it felt like I had to be at a certain place before any of that information would manifest or matter in my life. So in each chapter of the book, there is a section called What Now, where I kind of give you 3 or 4 action steps that you can take right now, referring to the lessons in that chapter, regardless of where you are in your life. So definitely, I encourage people to go get the book. It's a great, this is a great time forward too, because it gets us to the point where we can start to understand how our thinking is impacting our life.
Yes. And making that determination that we're not going to be influenced by all the chatter around us.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, let them chatter on. Like you said, be informed, but not influenced.
Yes.
Exactly. And be who you are. You know, be who you are, not because that's really all you can be.
Uh-huh.
You know, is who you
We need to realize that.
Yes.
Can only do. Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people want to be like this one or that one. I wish I could be like this person. But just be you.
Yeah.
Do you. That's the best you can do.
This person that I am, that I have become, when I was younger, I would have been like, dude is tripping. Like I would not have been, in my younger days, I would not have looked at someone who's doing what I'm doing right now and said, that's what I want to do.
I'm feeling you on that because what I'm doing now, I would not have thought in a million years I would be doing this.
But I always felt different, and I always thought very logically. I was very logical, and I didn't do a lot of things real fast because I was like, I got to figure that out first. So if I had time and I had somebody who really saw that, understood that, and kind of encouraged it, then I probably would have. And I think that's what a lot of us go through. Like, we have this thing and we're not really sure what to do, how to do it. But sometimes we just need that push. We just need a little encouragement. We need somebody to recognize it and say, it's okay to write a book. It's okay to want to sing opera. It's okay to want to be an architect or whatever it is. And that's the encouragement we need to kind of get us out of that shell and really pursue those things that we have that give us goosebumps.
Yes, absolutely. It's okay, y'all.
It's okay.
It's really okay. We're giving you the go ahead. Go for it. Go for it. Whatever gives you goosebumps, do it.
Whatever gives you goosebumps.
This is the time. And when you're getting goosebumps, you can share it with other people and they'll get goosebumps.
And they'll get goosebumps
Maybe
too.
that's what we could spread. You know?
Spread goosebumps.
Yeah, spread goosebumps.
All right. Hashtag goosebumps.
Hashtag goosebumps.
I like it.
Yeah. I want to
start spreading goosebumps.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
I had a blast, Darius, as always.
Thank you. Thank you.
You just give me goosebumps.
Hashtag goosebumps.
Yes.
Thank you.
One more time before we wrap up, how can people stay connected with you, get the book, and all that good stuff?
Stay connected. I'm always putting videos and good, what I feel is good content out. So follow me on social media at Darius A. Wise. The book is called What Are You Thinking? How to Become More Intentional, Deliberate, and Conscious with Your Thoughts. It is on Amazon. It is also on my website, which is IamDariusWise.com. We also have shirts, so get your Wise gear, get your swagger up. So go get your shirt. They're on the website as well. So between social media, the website has my email address. You can connect with us, and anything that we do, we put out there. So definitely get in touch with me. Let's continue to share goosebumps. Let's share the goosebumps. Let's get people excited about just them and their life and get out of the fear of the coronavirus.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Darius. You know we love you.
Yes, indeed.
I love you too.
We can't wait till you come back again.
Yes.
You know you're coming back again.
Whenever you want me, I'm here.
Okay.
Right.
Whenever.
We're going to take you up on that.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Okay.
I always enjoy our conversations. So.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
Take care.
All right, but thanks, ladies. Be phenomenal.
All right.
Word on the street says there's something new at Just Minding My Business Media. You've heard our podcast, Just Minding My Business Radio, that brings news and views you can use. That airs every Thursday at 6 p.m. on iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and Spreaker. Well, now you can watch Just Minding My Business. That's right, Just Minding My Business Media now has a TV presence on Raven International TV Network, broadcast on Roku, Fire, and Apple TV. Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV, through Just Minding My Business dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.assistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level. Thank you to the amazing women of A Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, and our media partners. Let Just Minding My Business Media promote your business. For information, visit us at jmb.assistercircle.org. That's jmb.assistercircle.org. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks. For when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.